很荣幸能担任2023高雄扶轮研习会主委，也很高兴接受这个角色和责任，在爱理事金木和理事怀子充满活力和有诸位的领导下，担任这个重要的职务，让今年在台湾高雄举行的第一代研习会，成为2023年国际扶轮最激动人心和温暖的活动之一。今年扶轮的主题是为世界创造希望，所以我们希望这次的举办的活动的机会，可以为高雄、台湾地带的扶轮社友创造希望，就像 HOP Hope 这个组合一样，是我们的信念，是我们的愿景。这几天，各国扶轮领导人在一起，除了分享扶轮的愿景、使命、目标及核心的价值，讨论如何为社区、为国家、为世界做更好的服务。也希望大家好好的欣赏这个美丽的城市，了解我们在地的文化及享受在地的美食。感谢你们的来参加，我们很展开双手，全心欢迎大家来高雄。我们不会辜负RI社长郭准的期许，全力办好2023高雄扶轮研习会。祝我们高雄扶轮研习会顺利圆满成功，谢谢大家。
Thank you, PDG William. May we please have Past District Governor Plastic John to introduce RI President.
请欢迎 PDG Plastic 上台为我们介绍 RI 社长。Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause and welcome Past District Governor William Zhang on the stage. 请掌声欢迎 PDG Plastic。
Fellow Rotarians, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor and pleasure our keynote speaker, RI President Gordon McNally. He joined Rotary in 1984 when he was 26 years old. He became district governor of District 1020 in 1997 to 1998. He served as IBI president in 2004 to 5. He served as director of Rotary International. In 2007 to 2009, he became president 2023 to 24. President Gordon Singh for the 23 to 24. Create hope in the world. He is a dentist, operates his own dental practice in Edinburgh until 2016. Gordon and his wife, Hassel, were married 1980. Hassel is a musician. They have 2 daughters and 2 lovely granddaughters. Ladies and gentlemen, now it is an honor to present you to our President for the 2023 to 24. President Gordon McNally.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please show your warmest welcome for RI President Gordon McNally. Thank you very much, PDG Plastic.
Everybody, and thank you, PDG Plastic, for that kind and too generous introduction. It is a great pleasure to be in Kaohsiung this week. It is hard to believe that it is over 6 months since I was last in Taiwan when I visited Taipei in May en route to the International Convention in Melbourne. I must say it is good to be back. And it is good to see so many friends from all through zones 1B, 9 and 10. I have always loved participating in Rotary Institutes because they are such an incredible opportunity to celebrate our successes. They also help us expand our networks across borders and cultures, and they are one of the best places for us to share ideas for the years ahead. This, as you all know, is a year when we are being asked to create hope in the world, which is another way of phrasing all the things that Rotary members describe ourselves as people who believe in service above self, as people of action, as people who seek a more peaceful world. And so today, I would like to focus my remarks on one specific aspect of creating hope in the world, an aspect that is very close to my heart and which I believe is so needed right now, and that is peace. Thankfully, as members of Rotary, we are committed to working for peace. It is right there within our DNA. And ultimately, by creating hope in the world, we are creating a more peaceful world, a more loving world, a more equal world. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Scotland's national poet, Robert Burns. Robert Burns, although he lived over 200 years ago, promoted many of the same ideals that we do in Rotary, in his hope for liberty, for brotherhood, and for peace for all mankind. In his poem, Is There for Honest Poverty?, Robert Burns tells of his hopes and aspirations for the future. Listen to the last verse of that poem, because I would suggest to you that it reflects precisely Rotary's hopes and aspirations for the future. Then let us pray that come it may, as come it will for all that sense and worth over all the earth shall bear the gree and all that, For all that and all that, it's coming yet for all that, that man to man the world over shall brothers be for all that. That verse was written in 1795, exactly 110 years before Paul Harris founded Rotary. But I believe these last two lines, that man to man the world over shall brothers be for all that, would make an ideal description of what we aspire to through our Rotary service. What better goal could we set ourselves than to be able to look on our fellow man as our brother, our fellow woman as our sister? We live in a time of unprecedented technological advances. But sadly, we also live in a time of destruction and human suffering. As we are seeing day after day, week after week, month after month, all over the world, peace is such a fragile construct. Rotary, with its global reach, must help the world live together in peace and in friendship and in love if we are to leave a proper legacy for the generations to come. Humanity has grown up scientifically and technologically, but now we need to grow up even more by pointing the whole human race beyond the petty divisions of nepotism, race, and creed. Too many people in this world have experienced the atrocities of war and of terrorism. Thank goodness that as members of Rotary, we are committed to working for peace. And never forget, peace is more, so much more, than the absence of war or conflict. Peace is freedom. Peace is healthy children and adults. Peace is clean water and sufficient food. Peace is education, human rights, dignity, clothing, concern for mankind. But most of all, peace is love. One of my great inspirations, the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, and I quote, "We must discover the power of love, the redemptive power of love. And when we discover that, we will be able to make of this world a new world, for love is the way." And do you know what? Love is the way. Actually, ultimately, love is the only way, because love can lift and heal when nothing else can. Love can liberate when nothing else will. Love can lead us and guide us along the way beyond our self-enlightened interests and beyond our factions and divisions, because love can show us the way to be both human and humane. But let me offer a caveat at this stage. I want to make it clear when I use the word love, I do so in a very specific sense. I'm speaking of love in the sense of it as an unselfish love, a sacrificial love, a way of love that seeks the good and welfare and well-being of others as well as oneself. This way of love spoken by Dr. King in the quote I just used is the way to human civilization and life, where, as the slaves of America's antebellum South used to say, there will be plenty good room, plenty good room, plenty good room for all. Now, the obvious question, and the one you are probably asking right now, is could it work? Could it work not simply in theory, but could it work in the factories and on the assembly lines? Could it work in the corporate boardrooms? Could it work in the councils of politics? Could it work in the world, the hard, rough, tough world? Well, it is not easy, but this way of love is the only thing that has ever worked. for human progress and for human civilization, and for the welfare and the well-being of the entire human family. Consider the alternative. History has shown time and time again that hate does not work. It has never worked, and it never will. In this world, it is love that leads to right action. Returning to the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. And so I would put it to you that what brings order in the world is to love, and let love do what it will. And if you don't believe me, just pause, and to use a word we heard a lot in Rotary last year, imagine. Imagine a world where love is the way. Imagine homes and families where love is the way. Imagine neighborhoods and communities where love is the way. Imagine business and commerce where love is the way. Where love is the way, then no child will go to bed hungry in this world ever again. Where love is the way, justice will flow like a mighty river. Where love is the way, poverty will become history. And where love is the way, there is room, plenty of room for everyone. Because when love is the way, when peace is the way, we actually treat each other like family. And what better aspirations could we as members of Rotary have? What greater hope could we as members of Rotary create in this world than a sense of family and love and peace? It's all about caring. We have to care for each other, because only by caring for each other can we begin to create hope in the world. And of course, to create hope in the world, to create peace in the world, we need to create hope and peace within ourselves. As you are probably already well aware, we are placing a greater emphasis this year on the subject of mental health and well-being. And this emphasis is all about creating lasting change in the communities we serve, as well as in ourselves. There are many people who believe that mental health is all about illness and weakness, but nothing could be further from the truth. Yes, there are some mental health conditions that are diagnosable diseases, and it's wonderful how treatable many of them have become in recent years. But mental health is about much more than that. It's about people finding meaning. It's about people finding connection, people finding purpose, and people finding understanding. And sometimes it is simply having someone to talk to about the everyday challenges of life. Many people build this kind of resilience through religious faith. Others find it in meetings, just like this, where we work together in common purpose to help our fellow human beings thrive and face difficulties. Still others find these connections by working with medical professionals. And many people strengthen their mental health and well-being by building deep personal connections with family, with friends, and with loved ones that allows for vulnerability, where we freely ask not simply, "How are you?" but "How are you really?" When we make these kinds of caring investments in each other, we strengthen our friendships and we strengthen ourselves. Because the research shows that performing acts of kindness is the most effective step anyone can take to protect our own sense of well-being and to make us more resilient to the challenges that life throws our way. I know from personal experience what it is like to see someone close to me suffer in silence and be eaten up by it. And I'm sure all of us, perhaps unknowingly, have experienced loved ones suffering in silence. at the International Assembly in Orlando in January, I shared publicly for the first time how I had seen it all too close at hand when my only brother, Ian, descended into the depths of despair and depression that led him to take his own life 9 years ago. With the benefit of hindsight, Ian had been struggling for some time. Despite being highly successful in his chosen profession, and despite having the most loving wife and family, but he just could not bring himself to ask for help. Was it for fear of being seen as weak? Was it for fear of being judged? Or was it even for fear of being rejected? We will never know the answer to these questions. But believe me, these are 3 questions I continue to ask myself every day in life. I might venture to suggest that one of the main reasons that my brother and so many others like him reach the point they do is that mental health remains such a taboo subject and that mental health services remain in such short supply. I know that Rotary can do something to change that. There are many exciting mental health projects happening in the Rotary world right now, but today I'd like to mention just one. Earlier this year in India, I saw in Nagpur in District 3030 a wonderful initiative being implemented by the Rotary Club of Nagpur through a global grant in partnership with the Rotary Club of Florida, Naples, Florida in the USA. Wellness in a Box is developing a depression awareness curriculum to ages 12 and over, along with a web-based Train the Trainer module. And it focuses on breaking the stigma of anxiety and depression and increasing awareness. It focuses on enhancing coping skills and knowledge. It focuses on suicide prevention. And it trains teachers as school counselors. In addition to India, Wellness in a Box has been implemented in Puerto Rico and Nigeria, as well as in the United States. It breaks stigma by showing that treatment is available and that some cases are preventable. It raises awareness with measurable improvements in knowledge, in negative attitude, and confidence in help seeking. And it increases access to earlier treatment by communicating the local protocol for referral. The great thing about Wellness in a Box is that it is both replicable and scalable. I can guarantee it would work within your zones. Overall, at present, there are over 50 global grant projects underway with a mental health focus, and dozens more are being implemented at club level. So I am excited and delighted that we have already begun to embrace mental health in the Rotary world, and hopefully this is something that we will continue to do in the years ahead. To do this, I encourage you to help us erase the stigma associated with mental well-being. I encourage you to help us raise awareness of mental health needs. And I encourage you to help us improve access to preventative and interventive mental health services. It's a big ask, but it is a vital task. And I am asking each and every one of you to become champions of this effort. My friends, I close as I began by saying thank you for having me here this week. And more importantly, thank you for everything you do for Rotary. Together, we will create hope in the world. Xie xie.
Ladies and gentlemen, RI President Gordon McNally, thank you. Thank you, sir, for your encouraging and inspiring words.
Now, we would like to invite PRESS-RI Director Jackson Shea from District 3522 to give the vote of thanks.
Wow, welcome.
My fellow Rotarians, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of all Rotarians here, I would like to thank President Gordon McNannis for his wonderful remarks and encouragement as we all come together today. Our Rotary theme this year is Create Hope in the World. From it, we can draw inspiration for this Rotary Institute in Kaohsiung. Not only from your remarks of the roles that Rotary International leaders play to strengthen our organization and the importance of the peace and love. President Gordon reminds us to make our commitment to Rotaries last in lifetimes. And we can make a difference in Rotaries as well as our community and perhaps our world. We hope through this institute, we can learn from each other and obtain greater knowledge and skills that we can better equip to serve our teachers at the same time. We shall also motivate ourselves to become better club members and offer ourselves to participate in the more effective service. Let's collaborate our efforts in service of ourselves. We know now we can individually accomplish our commitment to create hope in the world. Let's keep President Gordon's words in mind and work on quantity of quality. Let's all focus on bringing good and strong people to carry out our good causes. We need to come together and show the world that strong Rotary clubs can achieve together, so that we can inspire more people to join us and make a greater impact on facing the world's challenges. Many thanks for the President Gordon for joining us today and adding great value to this gathering of the Rotarians in our Zhong Institute. My fellow Rotarians, please join me in give Honorable President Gordon a round of applause. 请各位舍友给他热烈的掌声来感谢他的演讲。Thank you so much， 谢谢。
Thank you very much. Now, may we please have past District Governor Eva Kurniati from District 3410 to come up to the stage to introduce the Trustee Chair representative. Now, please give her a big round of applause and welcome her on the stage.
Honorable guests, esteemed Rotary dignitaries, fellow Rotary leaders, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, 大家好. Welcome to this special occasion where we have the distinct honor of introducing a remarkable and exceptional individual, a true Rotary luminary, past Rotary International President, Mark Daniel Maloney. Mark is not just a leader. He's a visionary known for his infectious enthusiasm and his favorable expressions. Exceptionally fabulous. I had the honor of witnessing this firsthand during the 2018 Yogyakarta Rotary Institute, where he described the Yogyakarta Rotary Institute as exceptionally fabulous, even comparing it favorably to the 2014 Rotary Convention in Sydney, which he chaired. Thank you, sir, for such a gracious compliment. Thank you. And I'm very honored to have played a part in that event. Thank you, sir. Looking at Mark's professional journey, he is a principal in the distinguished law firm of Blackburn, Maloney, and Shupert LLC, focusing on taxation, estate planning, and agriculture law. His extensive legal background is highlighted by membership in the American Bar Association, Alabama State Bar Association, the Alabama Law Institute, and notable term as the past president of the Morgan County Bar Association. His lovely wife, Gay, also shares his professional dedication as an attorney in the same law firm. Beyond the legal world, Mark's commitment to the community is commendable. He actively engaged in Decatur religious committee, serving as the chair of the Church Finance Council and a local Catholic school board. Additionally, his leadership role includes serving as president of the Community Foundation of Greater Decatur, chair of Morgan County Meals on Wheels, and director of both the United Way of Morgan County and the Decatur-Morgan County Chamber of Commerce. In the world of Rotary, Mark's journey spans over 40 years. A big hand to our past president, 40 years as a Rotarian, culminating in his presidency during the transformative year 2019 and 2020. Currently serving as chair-elect of the Rotary Foundation for 2023 and 2024. Mark has been instrumental in steering Rotary through dynamic and challenging times, holding various strategy positions within the organization. Mark and his lovely wife, Gay, staffers support for the Rotary Foundation as Paul Harris Fellows, major donors, and Banquet Society members. That reflects their deep commitment to Rotary value. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the exceptional and fabulous leader, past Rotary International President Mark Maloney.
Let's welcome Mark Maloney, TRF Trustee Chair Representative, to give the Institute address.
Ni hao.
你好。
Good afternoon, Rotarians, Rotaractors, and members of the family of Rotary. Gay and I are delighted to be here in Kaohsiung, Taiwan, for the Zones 1B, 9, and 10 Rotary Institute. I extend to each of you the greetings of past Rotary International President and current trustee chair Barry Rassin and the other trustees of the Rotary Foundation. It is an honor for Gay and for me to be at this institute with Rotary International President Gordon McAnally. It is my pleasure to greet Institute co-conveners Gimbok Chu and Muhammad Faiz Kidwai, and also Institute Chair, past District Governor William Tseng. I also acknowledge Rotary Foundation Trustee Aziz Memon. I am particularly happy today to note the presence of past Rotary International President Gary Huang and past First Lady Corinna Yao. Past President Gary and Corinna and Gay and I have a special relationship that goes back almost 30 years. In 1994, both Gary and I were group discussion leaders at the International Assembly in Anaheim, California. We were assigned to adjoining hotel rooms and shared a parlor between the rooms. The parlor was intended to be a study room where we could work and prepare flip charts and presentation notes for the group discussions that we would be leading. But for Gary and Corinna, the parlor also became the rehearsal room for the Taiwanese governors-elect to practice their dance performance for International Festival Night. Although we enjoyed our 2-week relationship and friendship with Gary and Corinna in Anaheim, I must admit that I thought it would be unlikely that Gay and I would ever encounter them again, since we live in Alabama and they live halfway around the world here in Taiwan. But in 2000, 2001, Gary and I found ourselves serving together on the board of directors of Rotary International. And then again in 2004, 2006, we served together on the board of trustees of the Rotary Foundation. But the ultimate connection occurred in 2019, 2020, when I served as the president of Rotary International at the same time that Gary served as chair of the trustees of the Rotary Foundation. Because of the pandemic, you remember the pandemic, because of the pandemic, Gary and I never formally concluded our partnership. So I particularly asked trustee chair Barry Rassin to appoint me as the trustee representative to this institute, so that Gary and I could, at least symbolically, but jointly, close out our year of service together. Past President Gary, today I formally thank you for all the work you undertook in support of Rotary and the Rotary Foundation in 2019-2020. when we celebrated that Rotary connects the world, I express my appreciation for your leadership in fund development for the foundation, and I particularly thank you for the trustees' unanimous recommendation to establish the environment as Rotary's 7th area of focus. This one decision has charted a new course for Rotary as we answer the call of many Rotary members around the globe to address environmental concerns. Fellow Rotarians, Rotaractors, and ladies and gentlemen, I ask you to join me in acknowledging the great leadership and great service to Rotary offered by past Rotary International President Gary C.K. Huang. We are at a pivotal moment in the history of the Rotary Foundation. Frankly, it is amazing to me that we are making such great strides in so many different areas of the foundation. In our battle to eradicate polio, we are probably in the best position in which we have ever been. Although we are distressed to see occasional new cases of wild virus polio, we have seen this before. We went through this same period of lingering cases in India and Nigeria. As of yesterday, there have been only 12 cases of wild virus polio so far this year. 6 cases in Pakistan and 6 cases in Afghanistan. At this time last year, there were a total of 30 cases, 20 in Pakistan, 8 in Mozambique, and 2 in Afghanistan. But you may ask, why do I consider that we are probably in the best position ever in the eradication of polio? There are several reasons. First, we are deploying enhanced vaccines that are designed to combat the particular strains of the wild polio virus that are currently circulating. Also, we are seeing the most effective immunization campaign in Afghanistan that has operated in years. In most of the country, Afghani government officials are permitting house-to-house immunization campaigns rather than just mosque-to-mosque campaigns. That is important because the vaccines are now coming to the children rather than the children coming to the vaccines. Furthermore, although there are severe restrictions upon what women can do outside the home in Afghanistan, the Afghan government is quietly permitting women vaccination workers to participate in the immunization campaigns. This is critical in getting the vaccine into the homes. Finally, the wild polio virus is cornered into a very small part of the world. Of the 160 government districts in Pakistan, polio is considered endemic in only 7 of them. And of the 34 provinces in Afghanistan, all of the 2023 cases have occurred only in the one Nangarhar province bordering the endemic area of Pakistan. This is really a very small area. Moving on, over the course of the next 14 months, we will open a new chapter in our Rotary Peace Centers program. As you know, Rotary offers a 2-year master's degree program in peace building and conflict prevention at 5 peace centers located at leading universities around the globe. Plus, we offer a mid-career professional certificate program at Makerere University in Uganda. In 2025, we will welcome the first cohort of students in another professional certificate program at Bahçeşehir University in Istanbul, Turkey. The opening of this program fulfills a long-held goal to locate a peace center in a predominantly Muslim country while also establishing a peace center in the Middle East and North Africa. In February 2025, there will be a special opportunity to celebrate our outstanding Peace Centers program. President-elect Stephanie Yurchik will convene her only presidential peace conference at the new Rotary Peace Center at Bahçeşehir University to celebrate the arrival of the first class of fellows. I encourage you to consider attending this unique Rotary event. One of the challenges that has faced Rotary for years is how to respond to natural disasters. No subject has bedeviled the board of directors and the trustees more than disaster response. I would guess that over the last 100 years, more than 80 decisions have been taken by the boards regarding disaster relief. Time and again, we have implemented a new policy regarding disasters, only to change that policy a short time later. We all acknowledge that Rotary is not a disaster relief organization. The grants program of the foundation is focused upon long-term sustainable development. Nevertheless, Rotary members want to respond to disasters through Rotary, not through other organizations, so the foundation must meet their desire. I believe that the foundation has now developed a balanced approach to disaster relief that will withstand the test of time. A few years ago, the trustees established a general disaster response fund. Contributions are made by Rotary members into this fund, which are then available for grants to districts experiencing natural disasters. In the event of a disaster, the district governor in the affected area can apply for a $25,000 grant to address local needs. With the General Disaster Response Fund, there is no direct correlation between the funds contributed and the particular disaster. Contributed funds are held in a pool to be available when a disaster strikes. However, there are disasters of such magnitude and notoriety that Rotary members desire to respond directly and immediately to that specific disaster. To meet this desire, in April, the trustees approved a plan to establish dedicated disaster response funds for specific disasters of magnitude. Upon application by an RI director, foundation trustee, or the general secretary, the trustee chair will consider whether a particular disaster meets the criteria to be considered a disaster of magnitude. If the criteria are met, within about 5 business days, a separate fund will be established to respond to the specific disaster. For a specified period, larger, more numerous grants will then be available to the affected districts within the limits of the funds contributed. We have already seen the success of these special disaster response funds with respect to the flooding in Pakistan and the earthquakes in Turkey and Syria, and again in Morocco. In the case of Turkey and Syria, contributions to the special fund have exceeded $3 million. To further the Foundation's goal to implement grants that are larger, more sustainable, and more impactful, 3 years ago, the trustees initiated a program called Programs of Scale. Each year, one grant in the amount of $2 million is awarded to Rotary clubs or districts to implement such a larger, more impactful project. It is intended that this grant will scale up a project that has already been successfully implemented on a smaller scale through a global grant. Furthermore, it is expected that external partners will join with additional funding and other resources. 3 years ago, the first Programs of Scale grant was awarded to the Partnership for a Malaria-Free Zambia. This project intends to reduce or eliminate malaria in portions of Zambia and is undertaken in partnership with the Gates Foundation and World Vision USA. 2 years ago, the second Programs of Scale grant was awarded to Together for Healthy Families in Nigeria, a project to reduce maternal and neonatal mortality. And at the Melbourne Convention, President Jennifer Jones announced that United to End Cervical Cancer in Egypt is the recipient of the third Programs of Scale grant. We are heartened that our first Programs of Scale project in Zambia has been so successful that the Gates Foundation and World Vision approached the Rotary Foundation to scale up the program. The resulting Rotary Healthy Communities Challenge is now a $30 million project to eliminate malaria, diarrheal diseases, and lower respiratory infections, the leading causes of death among children under 5 years of age in sub-Saharan Africa. Furthermore, this project will extend beyond Zambia to include the Democratic Republic of Congo, Mozambique, and Nigeria. Of course, none of these great achievements of the Rotary Foundation can happen without your financial support. As Trustee Chair Barry Rassin considered the tremendous positive impact that the Foundation is having in the world today, he challenged the trustees to establish a significantly larger aspirational fundraising goal. This year, our comprehensive fundraising goal is $500 million. This is quite a departure from last year's goal of $430 million. But with the generosity of Rotary members around the globe, we can achieve this milestone in giving. The trustees have also considered the financial security of the foundation for years to come. 6 years ago, the trustees established a goal to grow our endowment such that it would have net assets and expectancies or commitments for future gifts totaling $2.025 billion by 2025. This goal is known as 2025 by 2025. While this was our goal in 2017, in 2018, and in 2019, the deadline for achieving the goal back then was still a long time away. But with 2025 just around the corner, the urgency to achieve this goal is now at the forefront. And since I will be the trustee chair in 2025, the deadline to achieve this goal certainly has my attention. As of the end of September, we were still $391 million short. I encourage you to consider how you can support Rotary's endowment and to consider the possibility of a significant legacy event in your district to support our endowment efforts. In 1917, then President Arch Klumpf proposed an endowment for doing good in the world. Succeeding generations of Rotarians and now Rotaractors have answered that call by supporting our Rotary Foundation. I thank you for the tremendous financial support received from Rotary members in this region. I encourage you to continue that support as we create hope in the world. Sheshe.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir, on the clear report and the information of the Rotary Foundation. Now, we would like to invite past RI Director, Professor Sovolak Vutanovic from District 3350 to give the vote of thanks. Let's give her a big round of applause and welcome her on the stage.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, a very good afternoon to all. สวัสดีค่ะ Today is really a special, very special day for all of us at this wonderful Sohn Institute at Kaohsiung, Taiwan. To have a great speaker, the past President Mark Maloney, Trustee Chair Representative, to kindly give us a very informative and inspirational speech. On behalf of all participants here, I deem it a great honor and privilege to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. I'm very confident that all of us here, all of our hearts, filled with gratitude and respect to a great speaker with his commendable talk on especially how to do good in the world, the Rotary Connection, and the update plan of the trustee and all services through Rotary Foundation to create hope in the world, to help all people in need all around the world through Rotary Foundation. Past President Mark Maloney has indeed put the best of his efforts to make this Rotary Sohn Institute unforgettable.